thing, what Calypso did is influence other genres, influence soca. The very first soca was partially in Creole. Lord Shorty from Trinidad came down to Dominica and got two Dominicans to write Udima Upiti Shorty, Udima whatever. And that started the whole soca thing. If you listen to Zouk, you will notice that Zouk is an offspring of Cadence. And as I said a while ago, in Creole, when you listen to Trio or Atata, listen to the beat, listen to the way that there's fusion between Dominican traditional music, carnival music. I can safely say that was the beginning of bouillon. So that is the evolution in my mind. I may be wrong, but I want to go down on the record of seeing it that way.
How do you think we can get young people more involved in the Calypso genre?
I would not encourage young people to get involved in Calypso per se, you know. That might shock people. For example, in Brazil, I suppose that you all know that the traditional, and you should call it traditional because it's contemporary, the people who made it are still alive or they are very old. In Brazil you have samba. So every carnival there's samba and so on. But the young people don't go to the discotheque, you don't hear samba on the radio. But it is there and recognized and respected as the foundation of Brazilian music upon which other genres develop. You understand what I mean? So Calypso should remain that way here in Dominica. Let me say something, a societal observation. Nowhere in the world you see parents and children. Calypso is 50 years old. So which means you have a few generations. Nowhere in the world that you see parents and children digging, that's my old word, maybe use another word, like in appreciating the same form of music. So why in Dominica we are the only exception that parents and children recognize cadence, but the young people don't have to get involved. Otherwise our society will be regressing or stagnating. Once again, my opinion, I hope I'm not misunderstood or misquoted because it's a little bit different from what people usually say.
Mr. Henderson, last week there was a discussion on the radio for the name of the World Cup Music Festival to be changed. Many are saying that it's not sticking to the original roots, as legends like yourself were seeing that they're not and they're being taken away from the lineup. So there is a call for the change of the name of World Cup Music Festival. Do you support that call that it should be changed to something more modern that reflects the festival as it is right now? And one of my other colleagues would also like you to clarify what influenced Cadence and how it all came about. I guess the origins of Cadence. Just give a brief synopsis.
Okay, well, I'll take your questions in order. I speak about the origins. Second, changing the name of the World Creole Music Festival, I would like to respond with a question. What is the benefit of that? Would it attract more people? Because if the World Creole Music Festival was meant and is still meant to attract tourists to Dominica, that was one of the objectives, to promote Dominican music and musician, artists, if you will. And I still believe that these two objectives are kept. So whether you want to call it World Bouillon or World Bonaboy or whatever, I don't think it's going to change anything in the objective of the festival. Another thing is there are lots of things that change in different societies. People change, but you could keep the name. I am not a marketing expert, but I'm old enough to know at one time Coca-Cola. You all know Coca-Cola? Here we call it Coca-Cola. Well, I grew up saying Coca-Cola until a man laughed at me in New York. So, okay. No, I'm just joking. That's one of the most popular soft drinks in the world. And at one time, I don't remember when it might be, you can look it up on Google, they decided they want to modernize and they changed it and they called it New Coke or some kind of nonsense like that. And Americans started to report, we don't want any new Coke, we want our Coke, and so on. So you would never tell, changing the World Club Music Festival, you might have a few diehards that might tell you, change the format if you think it's intelligent. Change, but you can keep the name. Besides, there's a lot of meaning behind Creole. I don't know if people, when we started the World Creole Music Festival, we defined Creole music as Franco-Creole, meaning Creole with French roots, Makale, Sauté, Dansi. Now, linguists may tell you that certain patois, like what is spoken in Jamaica, can be defined as Creole, but it's Anglo-rooted Creole. So we brought in reggae, and then we brought in Africa because we said there would be no Creole or Patois or Pidgin or whatever without Africa. So I think the debate should be a level-headed one, and if it's really intelligent and necessary to change the name, go ahead. But I don't see the point. The second question is the origin of Kadaslipso. Kadaslipso was not born because we, the members of Exile One, had a focus or we were intelligent or anything. It happened by accident. Dominica had no modern music pattern of its own. We had traditional music. I'm speaking too much, huh? We had traditional music. We had our bell and whatnot. But we created a band that preceded Rihanna. Our hope was to go and hit the American market. So we played funk, we made albums, we had a little bit of success, and we were invited to play in Paris, France. But it was a dance. And we played and the people applauded. But the organizer came and I was the leader of the band and told me, make the people dance, otherwise in this country they wouldn't stone you, but they would send tomatoes and eggs. So, and they would want a refund. So we decided to creolize the music. We knew something called Cadence Rampa from Haiti. There was Compa Direct, which is the same thing. It was 2 names for the same thing. And we used to play Calypso because we were from the English-speaking Caribbean. So we mixed it. What we did is we added that famous cowbell, Putuk, from Cadence Rampa. And the drumming is different because you would play what you call the cymbals, this round thing. In Calypso, you used to use it to crash. Pishing, bash. But in Asian music, you use it. You know, so we did that in the Calypso. And everybody yelled. And this is where Calypso was born. I named it Calypso because we pronounce it Calypso, but you all know that cadence is a good English name that means beat or rhythm. But And we didn't want to call it K-Dance Calypso because we were targeting a Creole market. So we call it, we pronounce it K-Dance Calypso. So that in a nutshell is the history. And one important part is when we became very famous out of that, despite, because we started doing that as a joke, and producers wanted that music, organizers of shows wanted that music, and they came to Dominica thinking it was a Dominican form. It was not a Dominican form, but the Dominican musicians could easily do that. So they jumped on it and they started a movement. There were over 40 Dominican bands recording in Martinique and Guadeloupe lately, and that became an enormous movement that has lasted to this day. Less around here, but more in the Indian Ocean and Africa. So in a nutshell, that is the K-Dance Calypso story.
Thank you. Gordon, we'll take one final question. I truly think your stories are very, very interesting and revealing, so thank you for that.
One more question quickly. What would you say to young people hoping to experiment with genres as the creator of K-Dance Calypso?
Well, as I said, we didn't start this thing because we were bright people. We were trying to save tomatoes, save our heads from being stoned, so to speak. So sometimes circumstance can make you identify who you are, because I was like most young Dominicans at the time.